All right. Welcome to the RSU 14 Wyndham Raymond School District Board of Directors meeting.
You told me it was supposed to be red.
I didn't. They did.
It's supposed to be red.
No, it wasn't red. No, it was. No.
Can you hear me? I'm on green.
I'm just saying
Yep,
what it
go.
says.
We're good? Okay.
Very good.
Take two. Welcome to the RSU 14 Wyndham Raymond School District Board of Directors meeting. The date of the meeting is Wednesday, October 6, 2021. The time of the meeting is kind of 6:33. We are in Wyndham Town Council chambers. May I have a roll call, please?
Kate Bricks,
Here.
Jenny Butler,
Present.
Marge Gavoni,
Here.
Pete Hensler. Here. Char Jewell.
Here.
Kate Levier,
Here.
Scott McLean.
Here.
Mike McClellan.
Here.
Al Potter. Christina Small.
We're all set? Will you please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Any adjustments to the agenda?
We do not have any adjustments to the agenda tonight.
Excellent. Before we get into public comment, I have a few words to say, but I also wanted to direct the folks that are in the audience that in the back of the room, we have an agenda and our protocol for public speaking and our policy for public participation. So if you want that information, it's available for you back there. Okay, just a few comments and then we'll open it up to the floor. We've made some revisions to our guidelines for public participation at board meetings to ensure we efficiently make use of our time and can conduct important board business. As I have mentioned before, public comment at the beginning of our meetings is very welcome. However, to be clear, it is not a public forum. The following guidelines are based on our policy BEDH, public participation at board meetings. I've already advised you that they're at the back. To review, please state your name and the town or organization you represent when you come to the podium. Number two, each person will be allowed 3 minutes for public comment at the beginning of the meeting. Kate will be the timekeeper, and we are firm about the 3 minutes. I know you will be respectful of the time limits. As we move past public comment into the agenda items, many opportunities for public comment are specifically noted. We will strictly adhere to the 3-minute rule, and again, we'll keep track of time. All comments for an agenda item must be related to the motion. And if you're looking at, because some folks aren't real familiar with our agendas, if there's a motion, it says moved and second by, and then underneath that, public comment on the motion. So that'll give you the clue when it is appropriate for public comment. Public comment will not be an opportunity for an interactive exchange with the administration or board members. The board administration will listen and consider all comments, but there will be no response at our end at the meeting. We want to have adequate time to consider questions and provide accurate responses. All questions will be followed up either by an email or by phone. We have a sign-in sheet over here by the podium if you would like to request a response. Christine Frost-Burton, our Assistant Superintendent, will keep track of the questions so we know to whom we must respond to. Honestly, we are extremely responsive to questions and emails. I know in previous situations, I responded to almost 85. And I know that Mr. Howe has responded fairly quickly on everything that has come before him as well. So we will definitely get back to you if you have questions. There are often agenda items that are presentations and require no vote. We actually have a presentation tonight. The PTA will be here, so that's a good example. There will be no opportunity for questions or comments from the public during presentations. This is a time for the board to become informed and ask questions if needed. Should the public have questions or comments on these presentations, please feel free to email Mr. Howell. Just a little bit more. Just a little bit more. Whoa, feedback. Whoa, feedback. Okay. Okay. Okay.
Chris, he's giving you the no sign for that.
He can come out and help us out.
Hopefully.
That should be on mute.
It was not.
Not on mute.
Nope.
It was not.
They changed some of the audio, sorry, today.
That's okay. I can't see mute on that, but it's down already.
Yep.
There we go.
Are we good?
Thank you, Fred.
Good.
Yeah.
So does green mean the microphone's live?
Green is on.
Green is on,
Yes.
contrary to what all these signs say.
The signs say that red light is on.
Should we take all the signs off?
Yes. These might be all old, sorry.
All right. Wow. Thank you.
You just didn't want to get.
Thank you.
We apologize for the slight delay.
That's all right. I got to say, there's nothing worse than hearing your own voice, so I'm glad we fixed that. Getting close, folks. Executive sessions, for those who are not aware, are closed to the public. Anything discussed in executive sessions may not be shared with the public. And finally, we respectfully request that conduct at meetings is orderly. Please do not engage in spontaneous discussion during our proceedings. As chair, I have the prerogative to limit the time allotted for all comments to a specific topic. To make the most efficient use of meeting time, speakers are requested to avoid duplication or repeat remarks made by others. In that case, it would be helpful to have a designated spokesperson. So with that, we do welcome public comment, and I open the floor.
Read over.
Over here.
The podium.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
My name is Susanna Johnson Burrs. I have a 6th grade student at Wyndham Middle School. I'm speaking on behalf of myself. Last time I saw the school board meeting online regarding masks, and I was quite disappointed actually because a lot of parents were really concerned about masking their children, I myself included. One of the things that was very disturbing to me is that nothing was considered after that meeting, even though lots of paperwork was given. And it seemed to me that there was already a plan in place before the parents even got there. And so, to have complete transparency, I would ask that we have a parent vote regarding masks versus the school administration or school board deciding that for us. I think there's more like-minded parents that would disagree with the mask. I know you guys got emails, but again, there's no transparency in that. You guys can tell us you guys got a bunch of emails, but I don't know you. So the truth is that I think that parents should be given a choice, and I believe we should be able to have a vote on that. Also, too, I'd like to know when the school board rules changed, and if parents were involved in that decision. The rules you mentioned earlier as new. That's it.
Just take a look at our policy in the back.
Ms. Brooks, I have the abbreviated version. I don't have the policy that's there.
Is it a policy?
Yes. BEDH.
And were parents
We're
part of that
upset.
policy?
We've got to stop. I'm breaking my own rule. We'll get back to you, though. There's a sheet right there.
Yeah, is there a pen that works?
There should be. I got it.
Yeah, there's neither one of these ones work.
Just give her my copy. copy.
That's fine.
You want to put a copy up back, Christine, if people want to look at it?
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's okay.
Hello.
Hello.
I'm Matthew Murphy, the Wyndham resident, parent of a student in the middle school. Basically, almost 2 weeks ago, an associate, Derek Cleary, handed out an informational packet stating studies on the damages masks can cause, along with the actual efficacy of actual masks and how effective they actually are. And judging by your decision-making, it's pretty certain that the whole goal is strictly financial, with a complete willingly disregard for the actual student safety. And because one of the main reasons I say that is because there actually are specialists in the field that actually take care of airborne pathogens, and you could have used any of the funding money to actually reference any of these people. One of them would be an industrial hygienist or environmental toxicologist, just to make sure that the mandates put in place are actually following actual facts, basically. And let's see here. If all you do is blindly follow suggestions handed down with a complete disregard of the consequences, then you seem to be really unfit for the jobs, basically. What you're doing is basically selling the children out for money with also violating the civil liberties, because according to the state constitution, section 1, you're violating the natural rights of people. Children are still, part of the natural rights of a human being. And also section 6A, discrimination against a person or shall be deprived of life, liberty, and property without due process of law. So you're basically not giving anybody an option and depriving them of their liberty. And like I said earlier, you're clearly doing it just for the money. That's all you seem to be caring about, is the money that you're going to be getting by doing these mandates. So you're basically selling the kids out. And why that is, I have no idea. Because any of these environmental toxicologists or industrial hygienists could have clearly stated that, most of these masks don't really work when it comes to airborne pathogens to that smallest degree. So, yeah. Oh, and just as a quick little side note, if this continues, I plan on filing an injunction, and I already have people on board willing to fill out affidavits proving that this is violating people's civil liberties. And side note, just in case it makes any difference to you folks, last time I checked, it's roughly about $32,000 you get for state or government per student. I already have a list of over 10 people willing to pull their kids out of school just so you guys don't get that funding, just to make a point. Have a great rest of your day.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Hi, my name's Kevin Day. I'm here to represent my 3 children. I'd like to discuss 2 topics, both with respect to the mask policy. The first is the mask policy that's currently in place in the band room. I have a daughter that plays trumpet, and as dumb as some of these rules are, and as a lot of them don't make sense, I think this one takes the cake. In band, they now cut a hole in the masks. On what planet does cutting a hole in a mask prevent the spread of COVID? So I would like the board to somebody address what scientific data did you use to decide that cutting a hole in a mask prevents the spread of COVID? Is it your goal for children to quit the arts? Because I know that in football and in all these outdoor sports, they don't have to wear any masks, and the rules are different for them. So what I would suggest is, if the students can have the 6 to 9 foot separation, which is what the main music department or Department of Education for Music suggests, please allow the kids to not wear masks. Try to encourage the arts. The second and final question, I'm not sure how much time I have left, it's very quick. At the last school board meeting a month ago, I asked a specific question that never got an answer. I would hope that it is the goal of this board to eventually eliminate masks in Wyndham, okay? So my specific question is, what is the metrics that you will use to say masks are no longer required? Is it a number of students that have COVID? Is it a vaccination rate? Is it what is that specific metric where you can say, we've reached the goal, no more masks? Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? We welcome your comments.
Hello, my name is Timothy Gifford, and I'm a resident of Wyndham. I'm just representing our children as a whole and our future of our society, really. I understand these masks are a solution to an issue that has been presented, and I just want to consider that there are jumping on our first solution that has been presented might not be the best for our kids, and to also consider that we do want to make sure that we're choosing the solution that isn't going to be worse for the children in the end, in the long term. We don't understand how these masks are going to affect our kids psychologically, you know, how they communicate, how it affects family. We just don't know the long-term effects, and I think it'd be good to at least consider other options, and we just want to make sure that this solution is not worse than the problem. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay. Sure.
I'm Kristen Day. We have 2 children in the school system. My question is there a plan to reassess the reasons why the policies are in place? So, you know, Kevin asked, what are the metrics that we're looking for? Because I think everybody probably has the ultimate same goal. So I would like to know, in the context of transparency, when is it going to be reassessed? I mean, I'm guessing it comes down from the state. The state CDC will change their guidance. This district has been provided a lot of testimony, so it just feels like it's being ignored. So I'm going to write my name down here, and I would like to know if there could be a set reassessment, a transparency of the information that this school board has been provided with. What, like, you know, my husband talked about the mask. How was that policy decided on? I mean, that my daughter, the end of her trumpet has a mask on it, and she has her mouth on the trumpet mouthpiece through a mask. Like, how did somebody come up with that? When kids are hugging on each other, they got their masks under their chins, they're not wearing the mask properly in the first place, especially at the middle school and high school level. I don't know about the young kids because I don't have a student there. There are so many factors to whether these masks are even being used properly according to the deal that was made to keep kids in school 5 days and, you know, to avoid the mass quarantines. There's so many variables. I just really feel like there needs to be more transparency, more assessment of all of this information, as instead of just blindly continuing to follow this policy. Can't prove it works. We can prove it's causing harm. Can't prove it works. So if somebody could get back to me, and maybe there can be some way of putting together all this information to show the public that we're not just blindly following. We have considered this information, and we will consider to reassess it, and what metrics our goal is. That's what I would like to know. Thank you.
Thank you. Who would like to speak next?
Hi, everybody. Thank you. Dr. Robin Frost. My first question is, when is the state going to review the metrics? We would like to have an understanding of that. And also, an understanding of there are children that are wearing masks that are susceptible to developing other illnesses. And so have you guys thought out a system that will start to track what's happening to these children? We have, besides the fact that, individual parents and families can keep logs about how this is affecting their child, nosebleeds or fatigue, lightheadedness, having difficulty in concentration, having these problems, I think that we are very focused on what, the decision to mask people and the belief that this masking is protecting these children, but we also have to look at there are issues and problems that these children are developing, both physically, socially, and psychologically, like having nosebleeds and not able to properly go and change their mask without having some type of recourse, and having issues and problems with feeling lightheaded and having to, succumb to just one mask break per day. So I would like, some thought out process where these children that are being affected by masks, have you guys thought out what you're going to provide and offer for these children that are having serious issues, developing other different types of bacterial infections, other type of non-COVID related GI infections, and how that is being charted, so that maybe that we can actually do a comparison of the adverse effects that we see versus actually what numbers are being harmed with our children that in school as COVID. So that would be my want. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Two questions. I hope you got those. Thank you.
I wrote them down. Anyone else who would like to speak?
Thank you.
One last call.
Hi, my name is Barbara Bagshaw, and my neighbor asked me to make a comment. She just wanted you to know that at the last minute when you guys decided to go forward with the mask mandates, they pulled all her grandchildren out of school, and they're homeschooled, and 2 of them are going to Wyndham Christian Academy. I just think there needs to be a solution, and I think the parents need to be involved in it. Thank you.
Thank you. Going once, going twice.
Hi, folks. Mike Pasquini, resident of Wyndham, 3 kids in the district. Just going back, kind of playing out what's transpired here in the last month or so. When the reopening plan was presented and voted on, several people asked, was there a plan B? There didn't seem to be a plan B, depending on how that vote would have went. And my question is, I guess, why was there no plan B? And going forward with plan A, And if it continues with this particular plan, even if it is revised and it stays in place, are there going to be any exceptions made for, or any other kind of, I guess, exceptions made for children that really have issues wearing masks, children with sensory issues or medical issues that really they struggle with masks, right? Some kids really have that issue. Homeschooling, the answer, I guess, the preliminary answer was, well, you can enroll in a charter school, or you can homeschool, or you can find another option. But my question is, within the district, with a motto, success for all, is there going to be some kind of way that the district can help out with either offsetting costs for people that have to homeschool their kids, finding ways to be able to have virtual learning for those individuals? I suppose you kind of get the gist of it, I suppose. But that's my question. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else while he's providing information that would like to speak? Okay, I'm going to close public participation. Thank you for attending. We're going to move into item 6, and I'm going to give these folks a few minutes to pop up here, and you might have to fire up your computer. It's good.
Can you see it on there?
Are you all set?
Yeah, you can see it down there.
Okay, perfect. Well, it is my pleasure to welcome the Wyndham Parent Teacher Association. I'm going to give a pause a minute while people depart the room.
That was hard.
I'm delighted to welcome the Wyndham Parent Teacher Association. Before us in the hot seats there are Nesta Kennedy, the president, and Julie Vickers, the vice president of the PTA.
I don't see a light, so am I good?
You know what? I'm not the person to ask.
Yes, you're getting a thumbs up.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Part of our strategic plan, our core belief 5, is community engagement. And one of the tenets underneath that is strength of partnerships with families. And I can't think of a better organization that promotes the partnership between the schools and the parents and the teachers. And I know you all do a lot of work. I've been there back in the day, so I know. So welcome, and we'd love to hear what you're all about.
Thank you very much, Kate. As you mentioned, my name is Ernesta Kennedy. I have 3 boys in the district, a junior, a freshman, and an 8th grader. I have been involved with either a PTO or a PTA since my first, my junior is now, was when he was in kindergarten. So I've been very involved. It's my way of giving back to the community. So it's a pleasure to be here tonight. Thank you very much for inviting us. And this is my Vice President, Julie Vickers.
Hi, I'm Julie Vickers. I have 2 kids in the district, a 5th grader and a 2nd grader, and my husband is a teacher here in the district as well. So I've been a part of the PTA for a few years. We moved back to Maine 6 years ago, so I'm happy to be able to give back to the schools and the community in the way of volunteering. And we do appreciate your time tonight and allowing us to come present to you.
Thank you. So we have a little presentation.
Excellent.
Our mission, and this is the National's mission, National PTA, is to make every child's potential a reality by engaging and empowering families and communities to advocate for all children. Our values, communicating, parenting, student learning, volunteering, school decision-making and advocacy, collaborating with the community. We do our best to incorporate these core values in the way we support our schools and community. Our membership, we are the largest PTA in Maine. Wyndham has been for years. With that, though, with over 70 members this year so far, which is fantastic, mix of parents, community members, and teachers and staff, we have a core group of volunteers and active members, if you will. We have membership dues for the parents and the community members. This year, and hopefully in the future, memberships for staff and teachers are free. So if you're a parent, you can apply as a teacher, if you're obviously a teacher, and you don't have to pay. So any teachers out there, if you've already, we will welcome to refund you. The membership meets every other month, so we just had our first meeting last month. All our dates will be on our website for those interested in future meetings.
I get to talk about the fun part here, the grants. So we really do love giving back to the schools, and so our grant money comes from our fundraising efforts. So I'll talk about fundraising here in a few minutes, but our budget is $6,000 based on funds that we've raised during the year. We do encourage our teachers to utilize this program, but it is underutilized at the moment. So it is something that we're working on, getting the word out there and encouraging more teachers to get involved, put a request in. The only requirement that we have are the teacher putting the request in or the staff member is a member for 30 days before they request a grant. So when a grant request comes in, we just ask that they present at our next meeting, and that will give them an opportunity to share with us what they're looking for exactly and how they're going to use it and how many students it's going to reach within the school that's asking for it. A couple of examples of grants that we did this past year and one that we did this year. So far, our STEM, this was actually presented to us last night. He was looking for some acrylic for his Glowforge and different material, different tech, items that they gets to incorporate into the STEM classes. So that was something that he presented last night, and we were fortunate enough to be able to grant that request. Last year, we had a couple of different ones that came up. Because we were in a remote learning setting, we had the cooking club. I'm not sure if you're all familiar with that, but that was a great opportunity for the remote learners. And so we were able to do different spatulas and cooking hats at the end to kind of give them a little memento from their year at Cooking Club. It was a great social piece of their day. Then we had 7th grade alternative classroom seating. This is something one of the 7th grade teachers thought that it would be beneficial for them to have in their classroom. So that was a nice addition there. And here in a second, I'll show you some feedback from them. And then an art bench project where, as you can see in the photos, they painted some benches that we have around the school grounds. The classroom T-shirts and their class trip for 8th grade. We did a virtual assembly for the Windham Primary School towards the end of the year, which was a great way to get the whole school involved. And then the music bell covers. This was in efforts for the music class to be able to use their instruments again in a manner that the teacher felt was safest to proceed with for this year. So we supported that initiative and funded that as well. Here you'll see a couple different pictures from the grant request and some thank yous that we've received from the different teachers. We also did the Taking Back Maine's Future initiative. That was a couple years ago. So those were some different little tidbits there. Fundraising. So this year, our fundraising efforts are pretty limited, but at the same time, the fundraisers that we choose to proceed with are pretty big fundraising and bring in some good funds there to be able to support the different initiatives throughout the year. So this year we have the Meadow Farms fundraiser. It's currently going on and it will go until the 14th of October. So we do already see an increase in participation this year over last year. And so it's great to see that, and hopefully everybody gets their wrapping paper. Fall Festival Bake Sale. This happens at the primary school. It is a school-supported fundraiser where we do the bake sale, and that is happening on October 30th from 1 to 4 at the primary school. And then we have the Valentines that we do in February, where the students can send a Valentine's to their teacher, and that money is given back to the school. Staff appreciation. So, we obviously love to shower the staff and teachers of the Windham schools, and we wish we could do more than what we already do. But this past year, we did a Valentine's morale booster, and it was the little picture there in the middle at the bottom is what we ended up handing out. And it was just kind of a way to lift spirits. We did a membership survey, but also kind of like a pulse check with the teachers around that time, just to see how everybody was doing, because we knew it was a really challenging year. They were doing things that they hadn't experienced before and just had to adjust their day-to-day teaching. So we sent out a survey, and some of the feedback that we received was that, our morale's down, we could use a boost, and we feel like we're not appreciated for the job that we're doing every single day, and what we have to do to try to keep the kids safe. So we put together the little Valentine's morale booster and sent that out to everybody in the school district for Windham schools, yes. And then we did Way to Go Wednesday and Thank You Thursday, just a way to show the appreciation for our teachers and staff in a way that everybody could participate without any type of funding of, just write a little note, thank your teachers, thank your staff. So we did that, and we ran that through towards the end of the year, and then Staff Appreciation Week, we organized that as well.
Thank you, Julie.
Yes.
So scholarships is another thing that we are very proud to be able to provide. We have, this past year, have revamped it. So we're offering 2 $1,000 scholarships to high school seniors that go to Windham. And we encourage all seniors to apply. We do wish that the parent or guardian is a member of the PTA. Last year, we were granted scholarships to someone who's going to Tufts and to Bridgewater State School. So the school and community support, the list is much longer than the slide and the time that we have today, thankfully. But some of the ones that we're really proud of are the kindergarten bracelets. So if you're a kindergartner and you're coming into school and you don't know where you're going, we provide a bracelet that has the last name of the teacher and the house that they're in, and it goes on their backpack. And it stays with them until they either take it off or fall off. And it just helps the teachers and the bus drivers and whatnot herd them, I guess, for lack of a better word, to where they need to go. So we're really proud to be able to provide that for them. It helps the anxiety level. So that's good. Parent workshops, we co-sponsor these events. Oftentimes with the superintendent, we do relevant issues faced by students. In the past, we've done videos, screenings in the auditorium, and with COVID, it obviously hasn't been that, hasn't happened. And then one thing that we're super, super proud of is the bus stop arms. We collaborated with a number of different local organizations to do that, and that was a pretty amazing group effort by all. So we're happy and proud to be a part of that. And in the past, the family-free, friendly community events, we always try to provide something for families to be able to go and not have to worry about spending money. If we have it at an event house, then we might, or a venue, we might offer them to provide donation to give back to the venue, if it's a local venue. But it's just the idea is to provide free snacks and free fun, and we hope to be able to provide more of those in the coming years. In the past, we've done the snowball dance and cookies with Cupid.
Names.
Yeah, lots of fun. So lastly, just some challenges we face. We do lots of good, but we also, like anything, we face some challenges. So we'd love to establish a more consistent dialogue with the schools to find areas where additional support can be provided by the PTA. And because we support the 4 Wyndham schools, so K through 12, we have a lot of territory to cover. So we hear over and over from teachers that they aren't aware of the grants that we have or just events that are happening. We'd love to be better about that and to get the word out better. And yes, we are the largest PTA in Maine, but we don't have not all the members are active, so that's a challenge that we hope to overcome in the years to come. We find that people are hesitant, thinking it's a larger commitment, when really it doesn't have to be. I mean, it can be, because, some of us, it's just in our blood, fuels our soul. But others just attend a meeting every other month, help with a subcommittee, bake something. We are the PTA. Bake sales. And then obviously COVID is our last challenge that we speak of tonight. And we just had to scale back a number of our events. We hope to offer those in the future. So we just want to thank you very much again for having the opportunity to share with you what we do. And if you have any questions, we included the email and our website as well. So, feel free to become a member.
Thank you. We're really excited for all the work that you do. And
thank you.
We're going to put our heads together to see how we can get more connections going.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we're welcomed with open arms when we do approach the school, but we just want them to, know that they can approach us.
I'm sorry.
You okay? You all right? Yeah. Do we any questions, or is that?
Questions, anyone? Go ahead.
Oh.
Where might someone be able to send a donation? Because I'm sure people are asking.
Yes, well, on our website, we do have a donation link. You can just do a blanket donation, however, and you can designate what it goes towards. And then write a check. Checks can be mailed to our PO box, which is also on the website.
Yeah. Oh, go ahead, Marge.
All I have to say is I think it's great. I think congratulations. Even though you say you have a lot of inactive members, well, for what you do have that are active, you get an awful lot done.
Thank you.
Thanks.
It's a lot of staff, it's a lot of students, and a lot of parents. I'm sure they know you exist and they understand. Sometimes people just aren't sure of how they can help, and maybe that's something, that communication piece, Chris, being able to get more of your stuff out to the your members and the staff and everything.
Thank you.
Bravo. I think it's excellent. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
No, I was just going to say thank you.
Yeah.
And I just want to thank you for your perseverance during COVID, because seeing you on Zoom and continuing on through that, and then also all the things that you did to support and then maintain that membership over that period of time in which people weren't necessarily connected should be applauded. So thank you very much. I think the other thing we need to do is also for Wyndham PTA and the Raymond one is just make sure that we're continuing to pump out that link to people.
Yep.
And it reminded me I really should do a membership, so I will take care of that.
Yes. Please, make sure you sign up as a staff member so you don't have to pay.
I will gladly pay. I will gladly pay. I just got to remind myself to do it.
Well, thank you. Thank you both so much for all the work that you've done and for coming today and presenting with us.
And thank you all for all the work that you do.
Yes. Yes. Thank you.
All right.
I'm so sorry.
Oh, that's
It's
okay.
okay.
Did you have any questions?
I have a lot, but I'm good.
Okay. All right. You can email us.
I will.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you again.
Thank you.
Thank you both.
Okay.
Item number 8, lease purchase of
Nope, 7.
Where are we?
7.
Oh, we thought we passed that.
Nope.
Okay. Public gifts and donations to the schools. May I have a motion, please?
I move to accept a donation to Manchester Elementary School in the amount of $10,000 from Jersey Mike's in Wyndham.
Second.
Thank you. Any public comment? Board discussion?
Maybe get a little background on it?
Sure. This was a huge surprise for us, but any time that Jersey Mike's opens a new franchise in a community, they actually identify either a public service organization or a local school that might be near, and they basically say, first day of operations, we're going to donate all the proceeds to that local organization. And so they picked Manchester School, and we were expecting maybe $2,500, maybe $3,000, but for a $10,000 check, which will go to the student activities account, and will help Manchester with all the different activities and things that they provide for kids throughout the year. It's just a wonderful, wonderful gift. And so board policy, anything over $5,000 needs to be publicly accepted. And Jersey Mike's has not asked for any recognition from this. It's our policy to go ahead and accept.
I've heard their sandwiches are awesome, too. I really got to check it out.
Marge.
Well, not for nothing, but I think we should publicly, maybe they're not asking for it, but for $10,000 to that school, I would like to publicly thank them.
Absolutely.
And Chris, do we send a letter of acknowledgement?
Yes.
Or we've done that.
Yep, we will send a letter once it's approved.
Okay.
We will officially send a letter thanking them for the gift, and I have visited once, and it was an enjoyable experience.
Well, thank you very much. All those in favor? Okay, thank you. All right, now let's move on to number 8, lease purchase of modular building. May I have a motion, please?
I move to authorize the superintendent to enter into the financing agreement for the lease purchase of the awarded bid for one modular building and associated accessories through Androscoggin Savings Bank at $68,350 at 1.51% fixed, amortized over 4 years at an annual cost of $17,473.54. Should that be in the best interest of the district pursuant to 20-A MRSA subsection 40013 in the format presented.
Second.
Any public comment? Board discussion?
Should have been, well, I will add the last piece there. Through competitive bidding, Androscoggin Bank was the low responsible bidder.
Thank you.
And just for the public's understanding, this is the portable that was attached to Field Allen School. Initially, when the district leased that, it was a 3-year lease at roughly $17,000 a year. It was not going to be a permanent lease because at the time we thought we'd be moving ahead with the middle school project. And then the district was receiving $15,000 in subsidy back, so it was costing us about $2,500 a year for that. Schiavi has been bought out, and we received the new prices for what an additional lease would be, and it was far cheaper just to purchase the building, as it's already part of Field Allen, than it was to go and enter into another lease agreement where we wouldn't own it at the end. And so Bill did a wonderful job integrating that into the building. It really feels like part of the building. We will be using Field Allen in the future. We're best to purchase it. So we're going to try to get some subsidy back for this. There's no promise that we will, but we already have the payment budgeted, and we'll move forward with having that building.
Thank you. All those in favor? Thank you. Item number 9, policies. A motion to approve the first reading of policy ACAF, workplace bullying.
So moved. Second.
Any public comment? Or discussion? Some background. In the most recent session, the legislature passed LD 880, an act to protect school employees from workplace bullying. The directive, as stated in the act, is that a school board shall adopt and implement a policy to address the negative effects of bullying of school employees by administrators, school employees, parents, students, or any other individual associated with the public school, and to ensure the safety of employees and an inclusion environment for all employees and students in public school. MSMA and Drummond and Woodsum developed a sample policy, and the policy committee met last Thursday, I think it was. And, is that right? And we reviewed the policy. Typically, when something comes from an attorney, we kind of go with it. We don't want to make too many changes, and that's the case today. Are there any, did I do public comment?
No.
Any public comment?
Oh,
Any?
you did, actually, sorry.
Did I?
Yeah.
Don't confuse me.
Sorry.
I'm so confused. Any board discussion? Mike?
My remembrance, we didn't change, we took this verbatim
Right,
from what
we
was
didn't.
offered. Yeah, we didn't change anything. We went through it line by line.
We did,
Changed
we
it.
did, yeah.
Yeah, and we added one cross-reference to a student bullying policy, and there is one typo in it that we will make sure for the second. I found it this
A typo,
afternoon.
send it back to him.
Instead of
Let 'em know.
"and," it says "and." So we'll clean it up.
But
Make
in
sure the
essence,
second
we
reading is
didn't-
clean.
The content itself, we didn't change. Anybody else? All those in favor? Thank you. Report of the secretary, may I have a motion?
I move to approve the minutes of the September 15th, 2021 meeting.
Second.
Any public comment? Any board discussion? All those in favor? And again,
I move to approve the minutes of the September 29th, 2021 meeting.
Second.
any public comment or discussion?
Yep, hang on.
Okay.
Shoot. Sorry. I was trying to, it was the 15th that I wanted to talk about. Never mind.
Missed your chance. We're on 19th.
I didn't miss my chance.
Yeah.
Never mind.
All right, we're on September 29th. Any other board discussion? All those in favor? Thank you. Committee reports. Pete for Finance?
All right, Finance did meet last week after the meeting, and I apologize, I did not bring my notes, but there was limited agenda items. The first thing that we went over was the spending and revenue year-to-date, both which are pacing right where they should be. Fiscal year begins July 1st, so we've really had 2 months. And yeah, everything's pacing, no big surprises with anything. And then we talked about the middle school construction, some of the upfront costs that are associated with studies that need to be done, which we have not budgeted for, but we'll be reimbursed for everything once the state goes forward with the project, but it is going to require some upfront money, and so Chris just shared with us how much that's going to be, what the plan is for it. Looking like that's coming out of contingency and board contingency, most likely. I don't know if you have anything you want.
Sure. So first of all, we are going to have some contractual costs, and our architectural firm, who, by the way, we've not paid a cent to yet, those contracts are being finalized with the state. We have budgeted $200,000, and that's a combination of some money in the existing budget as well as some money in capital that had been set aside. That's a very small portion of the roughly $1.2 million that it's going to cost, so we will have to look at that in next year's budget as far as how we're going to pay for that. But Pete's absolutely right, we'll be reimbursed for that. And then there may be some other costs as we go through land studies and other things that we may need to use some board contingency on in order to be able to make those payments. But we have the money, and we'll be all set with that.
Terrific, thank you. Scott, facilities?
Facilities met tonight, and we discussed treatment plants and wastewater treatments and sites where it is going to be running through Wyndham, particularly over by Manchester School. Discussed how the technology works. It's actually pretty cool technology. I still have questions, technical questions. So I don't really know how much I can really go into
I think what we can share is that Manchester property may be part of that plan for the system, and we're working on integrating that as part of the Fields project, in which the town is already, this board's talked about as far as building new athletic fields up there for really that, I would say, pre-high school age. And there's some great opportunities for some fields which are lacking here on the Wyndham side. And so looking at possibly parts of that being integrated in with the sewer system on some adjacent property. Some pretty amazing technology, Scott's correct, and I think for someone who's worked in this district for 20-plus years now, people have been talking about sewers for years, and I may actually see it during my career in this district, so it's amazing that we see, and not nearly at the cost at which we have heard of plans in the past.
Wyndham Middle School?
We had a meeting scheduled for tomorrow, but that was postponed. Not too terribly disappointed about that. So keep you posted.
Perfect. Policy, as I mentioned, we met last Thursday morning, and aside from the policy that we just presented to you this evening, we went through our list of work for the year. And it's a fairly extensive list, and we're prioritizing it, and you'll be seeing a lot more of it. So thank you. Let's see. Christina is not here. Adult education?
Nothing.
Nothing?
Nothing new anyway.
All right.
Great classes starting, so.
Yeah, I've gotten some emails.
Take a look online and.
Yep. Excellent. March?
We have not had a meeting yet.
For vocational.
For vocational schools.
Okay. And Al Potter is not with us this evening, so we have no update. Does anyone else have, do we want to do an update on Mike? On the last couple? Let's do an update on Mike. The past couple of evenings that we've all attended.
the past few nights?
Yeah.
I'm just thinking we actually formed a great team. The three of us and Chris, we hung out in Raymond, as you were kind of laughing about meeting every night. We've been meeting every night. And it's still kind of twisting my head what's going on. We did 2 nights of forums. We planned 2 hours each night. And I don't think we got 25 people. It was about 25 people, but I think it was actually less.
Yeah, for both nights.
My remembrance, and Kate took good notes, but I haven't looked at them. The first night, I don't think everybody, we did a straw poll. I don't think we got everybody to vote. So, but my remembrance is, in total, we asked 2 questions. Who would like the 2 middle schools to combine and become one? And who would like it to stay as it is now? And we had 1 person say yes, combine. And everybody else who voted said no, stay as it is. Now, having said that, my head is spinning, I think, because there's a lot of feedback we could take from these 2 nights. You know, people didn't come. What does that mean? There were a lot of comments. I mean, it was 1 person, I think, last night that changed her mind 5 times. In the court, you know, she came against it, was for it, was against it, and on and on. So probably the message is it's an ongoing, at least for Raymond, it's an ongoing process for the next couple of weeks. The select board is meeting next week, Tuesday, which is the 12th. And they're going to discuss it. We're going to all be there again. And Kate, I think, has already even sent them the notes from, you know, every comment, every question that was asked. So they're going to discuss it in a big way. And they're going to vote, my understanding is they're going to vote and make a recommendation to this committee, which I assume we'll take it up on the 20th, which is our next meeting. So if you're a Raymond person watching tonight, you can go either to the RSU 14 website, or you can go to the Town of Raymond website, and you can find the 4 of our emails, and you can give us feedback. We have gotten, last I looked, 5 emails, and it's been 2 or 3 weeks. Char did a nice job of describing all the ways we reached out. So we feel like we've tried at this point, including having 2 events, and it's been kind of quiet. So everybody else jump in.
So we did get more emails today. I don't know if you've seen those. We did get more emails today, And what came up at the meeting last night and then was in the emails today was basically, we need more time. And
Oh, yeah, good point. Yep.
frankly, I don't disagree. I mean, this is a huge, huge decision with a lot of future impacts, not only financially, but also to the future of the children of our communities. And what it'll look like, and Chris, you did a great job last night explaining the pods that made me feel much more comfortable. And so it's, you know, if there was any way we could get more time out of the state or lengthen the process to have more time to make a decision, that would be great.
So if I can speak to that, I did have a chance to speak with our architect this afternoon with posing that question. Their kind of drop dead date to make sure that they can meet all of their guidelines is they really need everything by Thanksgiving. So one thing that they suggested, because we're going to hear from the select board on Tuesday.
12th, yeah.
But in addition, because obviously this board is going to want to take some comment and to hear some things as well, is that maybe after that meeting to also put out a survey across and do a survey to try to hit as many people as we can. But as far as as far as La Valley meeting their benchmarks for the state board, that they would be looking, because they have to have everything by the end of December, programmatically wise, and they really need. So he said, if we can do this by Thanksgiving, that's really what we're looking at.
Yeah. And if I could just add, and thank you, Char, that was probably the major point last night, is it probably is a good idea, but it just seems too fast. I just wanted to add that we did get a lot of good feedback from people. It was very constructive. There wasn't anything other than, you know, and it was the age-old small school versus the RSU, and it was a very positive environment all the way around. I think it's important to say that, but not satisfying. And I don't think we were particularly satisfied either, because we don't like the time frame either.
I did attend both nights, and I would agree with your assessment. I mean, as a board member who is going to take the recommendation from the select board, I don't feel like if they're making a decision on Tuesday and then it's up to us, I don't feel like I have enough information. I really don't. And this is, as Shar mentioned, this is big. This is big for the Raymond community. It's big if they decide to join with us for the Wyndham community. I think we can all agree that the timeline has been mentioned is not reasonable, frankly, for these kind of decisions. So I'm excited that you got, I mean, I feel a little better, and in November, that gives us some time to, at our end, I know Raymond will make a decision, or the select.
Well, I wonder, I don't know if you've talked to the select board today.
I haven't.
I just wonder if that allows them, they wouldn't have to make, if there's going to be something else happening, I would think they'd want to back up a little bit too.
Yeah, my call with Lance was just before we moved into the facilities meeting, so I'll follow up with Teresa the first thing in the morning and just let her know that, but that's there.
Right.
Because otherwise the whole project gets pushed back.
Right. I think they're meeting once a month. It just came out. I think they're only meeting once a month in November and December.
Yeah, and I have my next meeting, construction meeting with the state is next Thursday morning. So.
The gift of time, I like it.
Yep. That was going to be my question. Is there any way that the select board could move that out? Because I would not feel comfortable getting a vote from them, and then after they give us a vote, to go out to the Raymond public. And I would prefer to talk to them about it up front, let them know that we need more, you know.
I think the select board, based on the feedback we got last night, would welcome postponing a recommendation from them. I think it would be wise to keep it on the agenda for next week, because it's already been advertised that they'll be talking about it. But then to postpone an actual decision, or I shouldn't say decision, but recommendation to a future date. And I think that, you know, perhaps we could do like a Survey Monkey that people could log into to vote, essentially. You know, it's not secure and it's not, you know, whatever, but at least it would give people the opportunity to, at their leisure, during a period of time, to give an opinion.
Right.
It's, you know, it's just, it's ginormous decision, huge, ginormous. And, you know, personally, for me, the biggest sticking point is where is it going to be built? So, and that was a big point of people from the both nights, is where is it going to be built? And what we learned was we as a board could pick a place, but then it could get changed.
So if I can just clarify that.
Yes,
the state will honor, they're going to make you go through a process because they're providing funds for this. But ultimately, in the end, it is rare for them to push back on a site unless the costs are so enormous to develop it. But as far as, which would then get pushed to local costs, but they are going to listen very, very clearly to what the board says after you have followed all the guidelines. And there is a specific policy at the state level for site selection, which has all the different pieces that you need to follow. So, and which Stan Tech will walk us through as well. That's part of one of the first contracts, is walking us through site selection and different sites. It's a nice problem to have, though. It is a nice problem to have, to, you know.
Can I just share for us, too?
Oh, absolutely.
The select board, from the time we found out about this and we approached them, they've been awesome. And they were there the 2 nights with us, so just a shout out to them.
Well, and they scheduled things right away, so.
Yeah, they really have worked to help out here.
And they are receiving the emails that we are getting. They're being forwarded to Teresa, who's the chair.
So I'm like the only one not getting them, I guess.
She's disseminating them to the other select board members. So.
But just a question, though.
Sure.
Could that be a monkey survey that goes out on listserv to the children small and RES student?
Yep, we can do a Google.
So at least you get those parents.
Yep, we do a Google survey. We'll create a Google form, and then we can collect the data.
Let's make sure it's not just to the school. I mean,
No, I know, but you want to make sure you catch those. I mean,
if we're going to do that, we got to go to everybody.
And those are usually pretty good as far as collecting 1 vote per device.
Yeah.
Just a thought, would it be wise to include parents of Wyndham Middle School? They may have an opinion about whether or not they want one school. Just throwing it out there.
That's something I hadn't considered.
Well, we had a Raymond student show up last night that had got, 35? He created a petition and got 35 students said, don't do it. What do you call them, alumni? I think he called them.
Yeah, alumni.
Jordan Small alumni.
Yep. You know, we're going to be making a decision for the entire RSU, and I think we should get the entire RSU's opinion on it. The members of the RSU,
we can split it.
That's not a bad idea.
Because if we decide, you know, if the recommendation from Raymond is yes, we want to share a school, and we start looking at geographies that are more centrally located, which I know are rare, that may cause a stir with the Wyndham side of the RSU saying, hey, we weren't asked about this, so.
We will consider, I think that's going to be considered. Thank you. Any other reports that we need to address this evening? I think we've covered everything. Superintendent's report.
Sure. So first of all, I just want to give a public update to our network, which has been a bit of a nemesis for us over the past several weeks. So when we started the school year, we started to see a slowdown with our network. And after our tech department chasing some things, we traced it initially to a firewall, which was a new piece of equipment purchased in November of 2020 is when it went in, and that it was basically going into a spiral where it would reboot constantly, and that it was a hardware failure. So it was a new piece of equipment. It was replaced under warranty. In addition, we did some work with a couple of system engineering firms to help us reroute some of our traffic to get as much efficiency out of our network as possible. So that new firewall has been installed. and there's been some reconfigurations to increase the efficiency. But what we have learned is that our firewall is undersized, worked great in COVID, but believe it or not, we have 6,700 devices that hit that firewall every single day. It's rated for 10,000, but it is not performing at the 10,000 rate. And so it is maxed out, and you can actually watch our systems engineer, because this has been of great interest to me, has been sharing the graph where you can see where it is maxing out, and usually it's about 9:50 to 10:30 in the morning. It hits its max capacity, and what it does is it starts to attenuate traffic in order to go into a help mode. So we have now entered into a long-term service agreement with an engineering firm, in which that we will now have 1 hour service. I think part of that is we were not in a previous contract, and so you can call some places, and if you're not on a service contract, we'll get to you when we can. And so now we have worked on that. I received the final agreement this afternoon, and that's a 1 hour service, and also his live things that can be replaced if any of your equipment goes down, because I do not want to go through this again. We're also in the midst of final pricing on a new firewall to get us up to speed. As painful as this has been, our network will be much more healthy on the other end. We know that it's impacted a bunch of things. We also lost internet today between the high school and Manchester School, and phones were working, security systems, none of those things were going down, but it was a packet of traffic, one of the VLANs, which decided no longer that it was going to communicate between the high school and Manchester School, because that's how internet is routed. So systems engineering, who has been a great partner to help us out, talked us through that about an hour after I sent out that text message to say that internet was down, it was back up again. And so we have money within the budget to address these things. We're also replacing some older equipment that is just slowing down our system. And so continued work on that. Go ahead, Shar.
Just curious, are people with their personal devices able to access the network, the school network?
That was actually one issue that we ran into early on, was that, I'm not going to share how they did it, but there was a way to receive the password to get onto the main production network, and so the number of devices that were there were greatly magnified. And when you have multiple students trying to stream, it then sucks a lot of bandwidth and amplifies your number of users. So part of it has also been reconfiguring to knock off, to change, and to create a new wireless network that now only machines are able to then connect to. So yes, there's been some of that. We've also seen just a lot of packet traffic that with a device that seems to be sucking up more bandwidth, so that has been removed as well. I don't know who the individual is, but they're no longer connected to it, and so continued work. I think a long-term service contract where we are relying more on an outside agency to do that work is going to be more beneficial for the district long-term. But it takes a little while in this environment to get that taken care of, but just let people know we are working on it. It is a question that I ask, I think, first thing in the morning every day: where's the network at, where are we at, how are things moving? And we have stability, but we don't have speed, and I want stability and speed.
So one more question. Do the schools do education with users on how to effectively communicate over the network? For example, instead of emailing pictures or videos, save them to the server, the shared server, and then tell somebody where you saved it. Because when you email large files, especially to multiple people, it eats up huge amounts of network space doing that transmission versus just saving it someplace and telling somebody where it is. So doing educational things like that on how best to utilize the network in the service, then it may help cut down on needed growth just because it's not being utilized correctly, which in turn could save us money. expansion.
And I think last year this was an issue, it just we weren't aware of it because we only had half the student users on any given day. And now that with some of the new technology purchases, but just again, let the public know it's our #1 priority right now. We're working to do, and now that we're worked ourselves into an agreement, I think our support time will be greatly decreased, excuse me, the opposite way. Just also a couple things, and it was funny coming in, listening to the radio this morning and hearing one of our local DJs who has a student here in town talking about prep for the homecoming dance tomorrow night at Wyndham High School at the stadium. And it looks like it's going to be a beautiful night, a lot better than the rain that was predicted the last time this happened. In addition, a pep rally tomorrow, which interesting with this class, I think this group of kids have had a pandemic canceled because of a squirrel. Not a pandemic. They've had a pep rally canceled because of a squirrel that got into a substation down in South Wyndham and knocked out power to the building. And I think that was the year before COVID, and then COVID hit, and they lost some of the pep rally things. So it's nice that tomorrow that they'll be able to have kind of that rite of, it's not a rite of passage, but it is a rite of passage, a celebration at school to be able to do that. Also just want to share, and much more information will be coming out of this. Maine Health contacted us yesterday. It looks like student vaccinations 5 to 11 for Pfizer will be possibly approved on 10/26. We did provide as a service to families ages 12 and up when became available last spring. We had about 300 families that took advantage of it. I don't know what an elementary school clinic looks like, and we'll need to do some work with the nurses on that. But it's... things look like it'll be moving on that. I just also want to know there were a few questions tonight about public comment. There's been quite a few discussions at the state level on working with the state and the CDC on a metric for masks, and to see where we're at with that and how can we look at have something kind of an end game for all of us, because the same questions they're asking, we're asking, so that we have an understanding of that. The good news, and I'm going to probably, it's like saying it's quiet in the ER. Not always a good thing, but the last couple weeks here, we're starting to see a little bit of a decline in cases that we're dealing with. In addition, states south of us are starting to see that. What's interesting, though, in talking to colleagues around the state, central Maine, western Maine, and northern Maine are ramping up. So it looks like things are kind of working their way north. But maybe we're reaching a point here where cases are starting to drop. But we're asking for the same metrics, much like everybody else. Without a doubt.
You all set?
I think that's all I have for you tonight.
Thank you very much. On to board roundtable. Anyone have anything that they would like to bring up this evening? Yes?
If Christine could, if she could just give an update, because on the mental health summit that's going to be tomorrow and Friday, we did it in Raymond, but I just want to make sure that the folks in Wyndham are aware of it.
Absolutely. Thank you, Marge. So tomorrow morning, and this is posted on the district website, if you look under the news section, you'll see the original mental health flyer, and you will see the link to all of the Zoom links. So we will be on around 7:45 tomorrow morning. We will welcome individuals, kick it off with a wonderful keynote presentation by John Broderick, the retired New Hampshire Supreme Court federal justice. He will help us sort of think about our work as a community in responding to the mental health needs of students, and young and old. Lots of resources will be shared through presentations, individual presentations that people choose to go to. The Zoom links are embedded in that document. So if you go to the district site, you'll find the document with everything you need. That will take place from 8 a.m. tomorrow morning until noon, and then again on Friday from 8 a.m. until noon. Staff across the district will be joining on Friday, but tomorrow we'd love to see you. Children, youth, or secondary, middle school, high school, right up through elders in our community. We think there's something there for all of us to learn and connect with some really important resources in our community. So that's tomorrow morning.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Oh, sorry.
I had the fun opportunity to go to a football game and a soccer game in the last couple weeks. They were a blast. It was wonderful to see students out on the fields doing their thing and people in the stands enjoying everything. One team won and the other one didn't, but everyone worked really hard and it was really nice to see the fruits of their labor.
Thank you. We're having some good seasons with some sports here. Pete?
So Chris mentioned homecoming, and I just want to give a shout out to everybody that's made it possible. These kids deserve something to be excited about, and I came from a really small school, and we didn't have homecoming, and so this is all new to me, and now I have 3 kids in the high school, and so I'm surprised at how excited everybody is, but the kids really are excited, so thank you. And I think Wyndham's one of the only schools in Southern Maine that are actually doing anything.
I think we're it, and it was not. The CDC was had some questions about it when working through an outbreak status, but part of it just containing it to Wyndham. But we're excited to be able to provide these opportunities. And absolutely right. A big thank you to the boosters and Rich Drummond and the high school administrators and high school teaching staff and support staff for making this happen, because it does take a lot of work, and it's a nice thing that we can be able to do for the kids.
Yep. Do you have something?
Yeah, I just wanted to say that our football team is kicking A and taking names. They are 4-0. They look solid.
Yeah.
So if you guys have not been to a football game, I highly recommend it. There's a lot of talented kids on that team, and they definitely they're working hard. So.
I think the girls' soccer team is really undefeated and really well on it, so that's exciting. It's always exciting. The thing I'm always impressed under Rich Drummond's leadership is often we get what's the category?
Sportsmanship.
Thank you, sportsmanship award, and to me that means so much that our students, regardless of winning or losing, but boy, we're having some good seasons, so that's exciting. Before we adjourn, I just want to mention that the board's going to be moving to the district office to attend a Maine School Management Association workshop, and having said that, may I have a motion, please?
I move to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor? Thank you. Good night. My gosh, I'm sorry I was like coughing up a lung.